Another episode of Teach Gen Tech. This is an exciting episode as I don't know if y'all knew, I've emceed 5 conferences with View School,
Like a lot of
and
conferences.
it is a lot of conferences in the last year. And you and I have done View Forge together, or is it View Forge? Yeah, it's View Forge.
Forge, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Together for 2 over the summer, and we've been planning this, and we're finally doing something for
Woo!
View School. So, Daniel, who are you? What is View School?
Hey Jen. My name is Daniel Kelly. First of all, I am the lead instructor at View School, and what we do at View School is we produce video content in order to teach people about Vue.js and the Vue.js ecosystem at large. So everything surrounding Vue, and yeah, it's a really great program. Of course, if you like to learn by video, we have courses that walk you through all that.
Yay! And that is a great explanation of it. And what up, Alex? Um, Now, I am curious about specifically because these are ones that I really liked where there's now I have to count. I can do this. 4 main conferences throughout the year. It's Nux Nation, View Nation, and then 2 View Forges, right?
Yes, I think you nailed that better
Sweet.
than I would.
Well, and if I understand correctly, of course, Nuxt Nation is about Nuxt, View Nation is about View, and then View Forge is actually workshops, like
So
2-day workshops.
yeah, Forge is really different actually. It's less of a conference and more like you said, like a workshop. Like it's a I like to explain it kind of internally to people as a glorified workshop. Um,
Okay.
I mean, it's really cool because the attendees get hands on. We have like exercises that they can do, and then we have professionals within the industry live code the solution to those exercises. So you get a feel for what the experts would do for such things. So it's pretty cool. But we
Yeah.
also have just like a conference. We have a live stream. We have sponsors. We have um, all these other conference like things that are intermingled with it.
Yes, and thank you. Okay, so the most exciting part, what the next is View and Veet?
Ooh. Okay. So that's a loaded question, right? Well, let me start off just by very high level comparing the three, right? So very, very high level, they are all related, right? Because you see them at all the conferences and the V conference and stuff.
Mhm.
So they definitely are related, but they're distinctly different. Um, so Veet essentially is the build tool that allows you, number one, it's kind of got two responsibilities. It allows you to start up this development server on your local machine with all the goodies in there, right? Things like the hot module reloading. So so your previews can be shown live as you're editing, but also things like converting your TypeScript files into JavaScript because uh, the browser doesn't know anything about TypeScript, right? So at the build tool level is doing these kind of activities, like converting your files to things the browser understands, and doing things like hot module reloading and things like that. So that's Veet's job. And then when you run npm run prod or whatever the case may be to bundle your stuff, it's going to do things like minify your code and still take those TypeScript files and those files that the browser doesn't understand and turn them into files the browser does understand. So like even your .vue files, right? So all that kind of stuff is Veet's responsibility. Um,
Okay.
then Vue is the JavaScript that actually runs in the browser, right? So if you did any jQuery back in the day, um, I did plenty of it. Um, Vue is kind of like the jQuery. Just stick with me. Don't hate me for that statement. Vue is like the
Okay.
jQuery, not in that the interface is it all the same. The API for jQuery and Vue are completely different, but it's what's going to handle that interactivity in the browser. Like this is the JavaScript that actually runs in the browser, right? And the whole difference between Vue and jQuery or vanilla JavaScript is just that it has a different API. You interact with the DOM differently, right? So you're not doing document.query selector and then selecting a DOM element. Instead, you're using Vue's templating system in order to interact with the DOM element. And under the hood, it's actually doing that document.query selector stuff, right? It's doing all that vanilla.js stuff under the hood. But it just provides this nice declarative syntax for us to do it in a more intuitive way. So Vite is the build tool. Vue is the code that runs in the browser. It's the JavaScript that runs in the browser. Nuxt is what's known as a meta framework built on top of Vue. So it uses Vue as its templating language. So you write all of your pages and things like that in your Vue templates, right? But it does several different things. The main one though is it renders this stuff on the server. So by default, or just out of the box, Vue is nothing but JavaScript that gets sent to your browser, and then your browser renders the stuff that Vue tells it to render, right? So if I were to look under the hood of just a vanilla Vue page, you'd see probably like a div tag with the ID of app and an empty body for the most part. That's it, right? Because Vue is just a JavaScript that runs, and it inserts all that stuff into the DOM after JavaScript is finished running. So this isn't great for SEO. A lot of crawlers expect the content to be there inside of the HTML, right? Now there's some SEO, some crawlers can render JavaScript or run JavaScript and then crawl the page and things like that. But for the most part, you want your content to be in the actual HTML that's sent down from the server, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where Nuxt comes in. Nuxt actually renders that stuff on the server side. All the stuff that Vue would have done in the browser, Nuxt just does it on the server, sends it to the client, and then Vue takes over and does kind of the same thing inside of the browser. That's known as hydration. So yeah, that's kind of a high level difference between the three. That's a lot at one time.
It is, but it is helpful. And I didn't want to interrupt too much because I was like, there are questions behind them and also comparisons that came up. I'm also curious to everyone watching, like what y'all use, because I know at least those who are in the OSRG Discord, they almost all use TypeScript. I know that, which is cool. But I don't know if they all use React or what they use. So I'm a bit curious. So y'all please put that in the chat. And also, so one of my very first videos with, oh my gosh, wait, what? Oh, I'm reading Jason's reply and I'm like, it made me think that you went to go have Taco Bell breakfast. And I'm like, Jason, that doesn't really seem like something. Jason like posts on Twitter about like waking up at like 4 a.m. and has like so much done. And I'm like, there's days where I'm barely getting out of bed. Granted, I have to wake up that early too, but I would be
I don't
very
know that
confused.
I've seen 4 a.m. in a very long time. That's, oof. No, thank you.
It comes early. It does come early, but okay, cool. That's good to know. So Jason's React. One of the first streams I ever did was building a React app on and deploying with Vite and Vercel. So saying that out loud means that I used the framework of React, and then Vite helped build everything, and then it deployed on Vercel.
Yes, exactly right. And so like while you were developing on your local machine, what allowed you to see your app in the browser was Vite, right? And then when you hit deploy to Vercel, when you see all those little logs that Vercel prints out and things, that's Vite working to build the project from your source code.
Do you always need Vite? Because my other experience is like working on building an Astro site, and all that comes to mind is npm run build, and Astro just does its thing. So when we're doing something in React and Vue, it doesn't auto do the build with npm build.
That's right.
Or
Under the hood, it's
okay,
using some kind of build tool. And the two popular
got
build
it.
tools are Vite and Webpack. So
Okay, I
so
think it
yeah,
uses Veed.
you may not be using I don't know what Astro uses. I think it is Vite. But it could be Webpack, or it could be straight rollup, or there's several build tools out there. But that requires basically anything that the browser doesn't understand out of the box, like view files or TypeScript files, or you need that build tool in order to convert it.
Interesting. This is really helpful piecing it together based on like past streams and different pieces because I think that's where I personally got really confused with what is Vite and what's the use of it.
Yeah.
So that one is making sense. And so
Well, it
Astro
gets
goes,
even more confusing, Jen, to be honest. I mean,
uh-oh,
like, that is the
uh-oh.
main job of Vite, right? Is to like
Okay.
transform these files that the browser doesn't natively understand. That's its main job. But because it exists at that build level, there's so many other little things you can plug into it, right? Like you can do things like optimize images with it. You could do
Okay.
things like, I don't know, basically anything that you want to transform a file in some way, you could do it at that point. Um, so there's all kinds of little applications that you can, not apps, use cases that you can
But
have for
yeah.
Vite. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, my next like thought process, and I know you said you'll show us a few things, but just on the theory-based side of things, is because React is so popular and like somebody getting into coding brand new, like first off, like when people try first get into like becoming a developer and coding, there's always so much to learn no matter what. But also it's like one of the first things I hear from newbies is, hey, what should I code in? Should I do Python? Should I do
Right.
JavaScript? Should I do C++? So they not only have to like figure all of that out, but if they go with JavaScript, it's like what framework?
Yes.
So it's like an added one. So are there like off the top of your head, do you know what the major differences are between like you mentioned it a bit earlier, but like vanilla and I'll use React because it's so popular, but
Yeah.
that and with Vue, like what the biggest differences are there.
Sure. I mean, so your biggest differences between, um, let's start with vanilla JavaScript and Vue. So your biggest benefit, um, with using Vue over vanilla JavaScript is that you get this what's called a declarative syntax. So essentially, you aren't having to write document.query selector and then choose your DOM element and then live in JavaScript world separately than HTML world, right? So in Vue, you've kind of mixed the worlds together where you can do your loops inside of the HTML. You can,
Hmm.
put your event handlers inside the HTML. You can do your conditionals inside the HTML, and it's called a declarative syntax, but it's basically just easier to think about. Um, so the downside with that is that you are going to have a little bit more complexity overhead in terms of getting that stuff to the browser, because you aren't if you're using just vanilla JavaScript, then the browser already understands all that, right? But the
Okay.
browser doesn't understand your .vue files, so you have to use Vite to transform your .vue files into regular vanilla JavaScript, and then the browser can understand that. So, but Vue, I threw Vite in that sentence, and I know you're
No,
like,
no, no,
what?
but that like no, 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 like I feel like that just started to click so many things because if it's a build tool that people are using, it's taking all of the frameworks to use whatever framework a build tool would put it back into vanilla.
Right, right. That's essentially the idea.
Whoa, okay.
Yes, I
I feel
taught
like
Jen
that should be
something. That's the name
something
of this, right?
I feel like that is something that, probably clicked, but okay. Y'all, I've been doing this over a year and that just like really helps. So thank you. Please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of like Vue versus React, it's really just it's just a choice each individual developer makes, I think. There are a few major differences, like React uses JSX, while Vue uses the .vue files, the Vue single file components. And it's really just, at the end of the day, it's just a personal preference, because a lot of the things are the same.
Okay.
So, I mean, Vue came after React. It, was able to learn from what React did in the beginning, and I think make some really nice decisions that really kind of make it more intuitive to use. But yeah, at the end of the day, it really comes down to personal preference. React is obviously huge, right? I mean, that's a big benefit for React. There's more resources for React. There are more jobs available, honestly, for React. But Vue still has a really great resources and job potential as well. So it is a little bit smaller though. So it just kind of comes down to really what your personal preference is.
I am very well trained with the conferences, because I was about to say, and go check out Vue jobs, because that's where, if you're a Vue developer, I'm like, oh my God, we're not in the conference right now, y'all. Uh, I I really like the way you said that, and I think that's a great way to also talk about, this is something that I've wondered since I started with emceeing with View School, is like, so why is Nuxt called Nuxt? And they said, from what I understand, it's because Next is for React, so Nuxt is for Vue. And I like the way you mentioned that, how Vue like developed and learned from what React had already made.
Yep.
And a great call out that I think is a big reason why I personally suggest, when people are looking into new languages or getting into tech, like which way they need to go, is what is around for tribal knowledge. So in my, like the Discord I hang out in most, OSRG, majority of everybody uses React. So, and they use TypeScript, which has made it a lot easier for me to learn, because that's what they use.
Absolutely.
Where with like Vue, now that I hang out with all of y'all too, and like go to the courses and stuff, it's easier to learn it because I'm around that network of people.
Yes.
Um,
This is very important when you're learning anything. I mean,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. Now, so that being said, can you go a bit more into what a meta framework is? So I'm getting, okay, so we can build a framework and using like Vue, and then we have our build tool that turns it into regular JavaScript or vanilla JavaScript, and then you can deploy it on something like Vercel or Netlify, and that's what makes it go on the web.
Yep.
With like a meta framework, we talked a little bit before stream about what um yeah, can you just go over what a meta framework is, and I'll ask from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So a meta framework is like a framework built on top of a framework. So, uh, these guys saw, hey, Vue is awesome, and we like what Vue does, but we don't think it does quite enough. We want to make it do a little bit more. So uh, there are several different benefits to Nuxt. The primary one, though, is the server-side rendering aspect of things. So, um, Nuxt was, or excuse me, Vue was primarily just a UI thing, right? So, in other words, it allowed you to create a beautiful UI that had nice reactive elements, things that, it was easy to make an interface where there's a lot of user interactivity. But, all that just happens in the client. So, an app is made of more than just the client. It's also made of what's happening on the server as well. And so what Nuxt does is it combines the two, combines this wonderful interactivity on the client, and then it does some of those same kind of things and more on the server. So you're getting your HTML rendered from the server, so the browser receives content, like it actually receives something inside that HTML. It's not just an empty div tag somewhere. But you also get things like server-side API endpoints. So a lot of times when you're working with Vue, you're making requests to an API to get your data, right? A lot of times, some people where I used to work, we used Laravel to power that API. So we were making a request from our front end. Our Vue app was a completely separate app than our back end API.
Mm-hmm.
But with Nuxt, I can do that in the same project, right? I can
Oh, that's
have my
cool.
API endpoints actually defined inside my Nuxt project and my front end defined inside my Nuxt project. So this is really nice. And it also allows Nuxt to do things like actually automatically type my API responses. So when I'm making a request to one of my internal API endpoints that I defined with Nuxt, in my IDE, my IDE knows what the payload looks like. So it can do things like autocomplete. It
That's
can do
pretty cool.
things like error check. Yeah. So that's other things like that are really nice. But yeah, it's also got a lot of conveniences built in. Things like file-based routing, which means you just set up a file in order to create a route instead of manually having to create your routes with a JavaScript mapping of, hey, this route goes to this file, this route goes to this file. It just has some conventions around what file matches what route, and allows you to just create the file, and that's it. It does other little things in there too.
Okay, this is since we're talking to them all differently, which is this is so helpful. I don't think I've looked at this stuff in like a year to actually re-review the fundamentals. And I like to say fundamentals instead of the basics because these aren't basic things to comprehend. They are difficult to comprehend. They're fundamentals. They're part of the beginning. Um, so is can you mix meta frameworks across different frameworks? So could Nuxt go on React? Like, I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
uh, no, the answer is no.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Great. I'm glad we got that one figured out. Now, just because we're also on these different stages of a framework, a build tool, and a meta framework, I'm gonna throw you one for a loop. What is TypeScript?
What is TypeScript?
Because it's not a meta framework.
That's right.
And I want to hear how you would explain TypeScript with all of this.
I'm gonna go the safe route and quote the TypeScript website. I think they say they are a superset of JavaScript, I think is the term they use. Um, but basically, all it means is they are anything you write in JavaScript like is valid TypeScript, right? So underneath TypeScript is just JavaScript, but it's got an additional layer of the type system layer on top. So I don't know. The relationship is there is a little fuzzy, but essentially it just brings that type system to JavaScript. But that's why you need something like Vite, because the browser doesn't know anything about TypeScript. It's
That
really just
is
for your IDE. Yeah.
okay. That's cool. And um, Sarah, thank you for joining. And yes, so really quick on catching up on that. Uh, Sarah's husband, Chris, has been on the show before to talk about databases. So, and Sarah is part of we play a live streaming tabletop game called The Expanse.
Ooh,
And Sarah is in that. And
I'm
it's really funny
intrigued.
because like if I see Sarah, like her username is not that. And then her character name is Maria. So every time I see her, I'm like,
What do I
you have a
call you?
name. You have a name. And the same goes for Bumpy Lumps. He's also part of that tabletop game.
Oh, I love that name.
And his name's Alex, and his character's name. Now I'm going to space your character's name. I don't remember.
I'm
Alex, please
really
tell
I'm
us
really
because
sad actually that his parents didn't name him Bumpy Lumps, because I don't know, that would just be amazing.
yes, yes. And yes, Jason, I just wanted, I did link it in there for what the View School stuff was, because they do have like everything like from beginner to super advanced. This is something that they just, so they have Mastering Nuxt if you want to do, because Nuxt 3 came out last Nux Nation
Yep.
in
December.
22.
Yep.
And then they also have um, Pina? Pina just came out, Mastering Pina,
Yep.
which, what is Pina?
So Pina is a state management system. So if you're familiar with React, you could think of it as Redux. Redux is the React version of that.
Okay, I'm gonna not dive into that one.
Yeah, good
we'll
call.
we'll have you on again. We'll just like go we'll deep dive on that one. But yeah, they have a lot of different levels, and just I honestly, y'all, I just want to say, since I've emceed so many of these, I also remember way more about them because they also have the Vue certification, which I was like, that's cool. I didn't know that's a thing. It is
Yeah.
a thing. You can get certified. Also just telling you because it's all great resources. So,
Yeah.
and they
And
have
this
trained me very well. Um,
we've got you promoting us well, don't we, Jen?
like not even meaning to, like not even it's just like in my brain now. Um, so now that we've kind of gone through all of these, and thank you for helping me break down the fundamentals there,
Sure,
can you
Jen.
show us a bit of like what something would look like, just like a basic deployment of a Nuxt app, and then maybe what it would look like for the differences if you are a Vue app and if you use Nuxt or don't use Nuxt, and then also maybe what a build log looks like. So like, do people know that they're like, if I am building something in Vue and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go deploy this on Vercel.
Yep.
Am I gonna get blocked somewhere to know that I can't build without using Vite?
Sure.
Because if I'm using, oh, Anthony, look, okay, sorry, y'all. Anthony's here, and Anthony was the one who had me build a React app on Vite and Vercel to confuse me.
Thank you for doing that, Anthony. That's we want to confuse Jen. It's a goal.
Yes. But Anthony, I'm finally following up to understand that we'll see. Let's see if I got the explanation to Anthony. Because he's been on Teach Gen Tech way too many times. Or not enough, is that Vite is the build tool that takes and it can work with any type of framework to build the framework and then turn it into vanilla JavaScript so it can deploy on something like Vercel or Netlify.
Yep, that's the gist.
Yes. Okay. See, Anthony, like I knew Vite did something. I just couldn't understand why, especially since Anthony, when you and I did our stream, it was like using React, and I built my site a few times with Astro, so I didn't really understand what Vite did in the middle and why there was a build tool, because Astro just auto did it. So this is making a lot more sense, and Daniel's going to show us some stuff.
Awesome. First, before I show you something, Jen, I do want to just mention so the Mastering Nuxt course. If you are already familiar with Vue, I think the Mastering Nuxt course is a really great next step. It is taught by Michael Thiessen. He is huge in the Vue community. Like, he taught me a lot when I first started working with Vue. And he's a really great teacher. If you are brand new to Vue, I don't suggest jumping into Nuxt necessarily right away, because you really need to get the basics of Vue first. But for someone who's brand new to Vue, we do have some really great courses on the actual Vue School platform that are Vue fundamentals. And a couple of those are even free. So I suggest you check out that if you're interested in starting with Vue.
And I just want to add to that, because I love how when the course first came out for Mastering Nuxt. So y'all, this is a year ago for those who have been like following me for quite a while. I don't know what any of this is or who's who or anything like that. And Michael Thiessen is like very like level. Like that's the best way I can say it.
Yeah.
And you guys can tell him I said so, because he is. And then like he came out with this video and he's like so excited about it. And I'm just like, I feel like I need to listen, because what just happened?
That's great.
So, yes.
Yeah, I get that experience. I totally get that.
So thank you. That was a great call out of like going through the differences of them. But yes, anything else you want to add to that one?
Nope, nope. That's it for the resources there. Yeah, Jen. Let me see if I can. So I'm going to pull up a next site. Give me just one moment.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Anthony, I didn't realize that until like, okay, yes, you've probably said it before, Anthony. And I call Anthony my internet big brother because he's come on like I think he was my second or third episode. I don't remember at this point. And so and he's been on the stream so many times throughout there that helps fill in the gaps. So he just became my internet big brother. And it's been fun learning them and then referring back to him and be like, do these actually all connect? And actually having it sink in now. So all right, let me get this on stage.
Awesome.
Bam.
All right, y'all. So this is the new Nux documentation they just released at this Nux Nation, which is pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy their bootstrapping command here and open up my terminal and just paste that in. And I'll just call my project Teach Gen Tech, right? That's what we're doing.
But it's two ends. Can someone go
it is
back?
two ends, Jen. No, it's too late.
It's too late. We
You gotta
committed.
change your name now.
Damn it.
Okay, cool. So that's booting up here, and then we're going to open it in Visual Studio Code as soon as I get it open. So just a quick explanation. I'm going to show you kind of what I mean by the server-side rendering. So this is
Sweet.
going to kind of show you the difference between a vanilla Vue project and a Nux project.
Adding to that question that you reminded me of a question I had earlier was, could you go over an explanation of like when somebody says server and then you have client side, like what's the difference between the two? Like what's a I
Yeah,
know I've asked this question before for everybody that's been here for a while, but sometimes you have to ask like 7 times for it to sink in.
yeah, absolutely. So your server is the computer that the person deploying the website owns or is renting or whatever, right? So
Okay.
it's Netlify servers or it's Vercel servers.
Okay.
It's Vercel's computers, which probably under the hood is actually Google's computers. I don't know, but that's probably his.
Fair.
So the server is everything that exists outside of your user's computer, essentially. And it's the place where you can do things safely. It's the place where you can talk to your database. It's the place where you can store secret keys and all that because your users never see that. The client is just the browser. That's all it is.
Oh.
Yeah, the client is just the browser. Or in the case of an Electron app or a desktop app, maybe it's the app shell or whatever.
Got it.
So yeah, does that
Thank
make
you.
sense, Jen?
Yes, yes. And this is probably one of the biggest things that I never get why like tech in general has so many different names for things. And it's like, why don't we just call it the browser? We have to call it the client.
Right.
Please continue. This is just a rant I have about
No
tech
worries,
in
no
general.
worries. I mean, the reason they call it the client is because you could have other clients, right? You could have other things receiving the stuff sent from the browser. So, like if I did curl, and then I curled the next website, like in this case, my terminal would be, or I guess curl would be the client. But I can visit that same website in the browser, and then the browser is the client, right? Yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, you can have different clients. But the one that most
Cool.
people are using is the browser. Okay, so I started my project, right? So teach, yeah, there it is. So we're going to open that up, and let me show you. Let me get my presentation mode on here so y'all can see a little bit better.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so what am I looking for? Let me start the dev server. So I'm going to install everything with npm. So to throw your one more difference in there, npm is that other layer, right? That's your package manager.
Ooh, let's get really complicated. What's the difference between like NPM and then why am I blanking all the other ones right now? MPX or
Yep.
there's other ones.
Yeah. Like NPM, Yarn,
There we go.
Bun now, right?
Oh, that's what Bun is. I haven't paid enough attention to it. That's good. That's good to know.
well, Bun is, yeah, it's more than that actually. Bun is a whole JavaScript runtime, but it has the package manager built into it, which is kind of cool.
And a package manager just installs all the things you need to use to make one of these projects.
Yes, exactly right.
Sweet.
Exactly right. Okay, so now I'm going to start the development servers with npm run dev, and this is Vite working its magic, right? This is Vite putting that little development server, giving me the URL, and then bundling all the compiling all my non-browser ready files to be browser ready.
Cool.
So then I can visit this in the browser, and you're going to be able to see now kind of Vite in action. So let's look at the network tab, reload my page.
And y'all let us know if we need to zoom in more, please.
Absolutely. See, welcome to the next. Oh, I'm here we go. So all the things. So there is a welcome component. And so you can see over in my code, in app.view right here, we have this Nuxt welcome component. Okay, this is a view component. So it's a file that ends in .view. It's not in my project, it's in the dependencies. So I'm not gonna go find it, but you can see here this welcome.view file that my browser has loaded. So yes, it ends in .view. However, if you look at the content type here, we've got application JavaScript. So my browser is not reading the .view file. This is just pointing. This is just to help me know which file this is actually talking about. It's reading the compiled file that Vite made for me. So Vite turned my view file into a JavaScript file. And if you look at the response, like this is not what I'm having to write. Like I'm not in my
Thank
IDE
goodness.
writing this crap, because that would be a nightmare. This is what Vite is creating for me. Okay. So
Got it. Okay. Is it possible to edit that then? Like if I were like, hey, we're using this template. I like it, but I don't like it. I want to go edit the template. Where would I just delete the template and then start from scratch? Or can I go edit the template somewhere?
Yeah, I would definitely go edit. So like this next welcome here comes from at shoot, how do I search this? At Nuxt, where are you? Is it at Nuxt here? Yeah, so at Nuxt, probably UI templates, something. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's ways to go in there, and that's good to know. I was very curious about that one.
Yeah. I probably even a better example would be if I did a new directory here called components, and then I just did a hello world component, right? So I did hello world.view, and then I would do a template of h1 hello world, something like this, and then I could just put that here instead of the Nuxt welcome. So hello world. Okay, so this is the exact same thing, just somewhere inside of Nuxt's package, it had something like this, right? And so now you can see here's that. Yeah, let me refresh. This should be hello now. Yeah, so you can see, yeah, here's hello world.view, but under the hood, this is what the browser actually gets. Okay,
sweet.
I'm not writing that.
Really quick, I'm gonna pause you because we just got rated. Thank you, Jason. If y'all don't know who Jason is, it's Learn with Jason. Because for some reason I never say Jason's last name. I don't know people's last names. I know their Twitter handles or like their projects. And so thank you everybody for joining. We are currently hanging out with Daniel from View School, learning the fundamentals of what the Nuxt is View and Vite. And we're currently seeing how Vite is the build tool that changes any type of framework to a vanilla JavaScript, and showing us an example of how that shows up in the browser or the client side instead of the server side, which the server side is the computer you're building it on. The client side is the browser for the most part.
For the most
Yeah.
part, Jen, the server side is the computer you're serving it from. So I'm not necessarily serving it from
Oh,
my actual personal laptop,
fair.
but if I deploy it to Vercel, their servers or whatever.
Got it.
Yeah,
Cool, 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 cool. Thank you.
cool. Jason, by the way, I've seen some of your stuff, man. I really like some
Dude,
learning
his
with
stuff is
Jason.
like, yeah, like I wanted to name it, like I was gonna be like, maybe I should change my name or like start my show to be Learn with Jen. And I was like, no, there's Learn with Jason. So instead, since he gave me like the idea of it, I just said, hey, Jason, will you come on teach Gen Tech? And he did back when he worked at Netlify, which was awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. So yeah, so that's the gist of what Vite is doing for you.
Very
It's
cool.
taking those files and transforming them. And I'm so glad I don't have to write this, right?
Yeah, like how do a lot of people end up writing that? Like, I
No,
guess.
nobody ever.
Okay.
No.
I was like, that would be a lot.
Cool. So yeah, what you would do, Jen, is you would come and edit this file, and then you would need to make sure you have Vite transpile the file for you. So I couldn't just edit this and then send it to the browser. You would need to run your build step.
Okay, okay, that's making sense.
Awesome. Okay, so that's kind of how Vite plays a part. Let's talk about the difference now between Vue and Nux and show you that. So I'm not going to start a brand new Vue project just for the sake of time, but I am going to turn Nux's SSR setting to false. So what this means is that I want my Nuxt app to behave basically like a Vue app at this point. I want it to not do the server-side rendering. Okay, so just imagine now this is a plain vanilla Vue application, and for this demo, it essentially is. So if I do view page source, you'll see there's really
Can
nothing
you
in it.
zoom in a bit for us on this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet, thank you.
Is it better?
Yeah, much. Thank you.
So there's really not a whole lot going on. And more importantly, if I look for my H1 that said hello world, that doesn't exist in here. So the server didn't put that H1 tag into my HTML. Okay. So, but I still have the hello world on the page. It's like, so what's going on?
Yeah.
So what's going on is that the JavaScript is executing and putting the hello world in here. The HTML is just, where's the div? It's just this div right here. This is where the JavaScript is. It's finding the div with the ID of Nuxt, and then it's injecting that into the div, which is fine for our end user, but for the crawlers, they don't necessarily always execute the JavaScript before crawling it. So like right here, if I go to, let's see, how do I turn off JavaScript? If I go to settings and then where's JavaScript in here? Disable JavaScript. Can I search this? Java. I thought it was in here somewhere. Here it is. Disable JavaScript. Okay. So if I have my JavaScript disabled and refresh the page, yeah, you can see that the hello world isn't there. So it only exists in the JavaScript. Yeah, go
if
ahead,
we
Jen.
have Nuxt enabled, though, even if we disabled the JavaScript, it would still be showing because Nuxt will take it from that JavaScript into creating it as an HTML.
That's right, on the server.
Cool, on the server. Therefore, it will load faster because it's already been done on the server.
Yep, and it does. The browser doesn't have to execute that JavaScript before it shows anything. Yeah, absolutely right. So I'll just disable that SSR fault. So now it's behaving more like a typical Nuxt application. And now if I refresh the page, yeah, my JavaScript is still disabled, but hello world is
okay.
here. And that's because it's in the, so here's the H1 and there's the hello world.
Mhm.
So it's coming from the server.
So that's making sense on why that's, like, very important for, like, SEO and crawlers and things like that. What doesn't quite make sense to me is we've mentioned hydration and those type of things. Really quick before, if anybody wants a funny story of, we were talking earlier about my internet big brother, Anthony. He was like, "Hey, let's help you get more people on the stream." And he saw Mishko, who created Angular, post about that he wanted to do streams like to talk about Quick. Fifth episode. Fifth episode. Mishko comes on and he's like, hey, do you want to like do like maybe like Hacker News or something? And I'm like, what? That's a thing? So he basically spent the time like trying to explain what hydration is. And as I said, y'all, episode number 1 of Teach Gen Tech was learning the differences between CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. So fifth episode being hydration. I was like, I don't know.
What is this hydration thing, right?
Yeah. So what is hydration and where does it go into all of these pieces?
So hydration is really just kind of the mixture
Okay.
of your Vue app on the client side and your Vue app on the server side. So Nux does its thing here, right, where it renders it on the server. But with
Right.
JavaScript off, so with JavaScript off, this is not really doing anything. Now I'm not actually doing anything inside the component. Let's do something like I don't know, script setup. Let me make it whenever I click the H1, we do an alert. Why not? So I'm going to define a function here called handle click, and then we're just going to alert hello world. Okay, and then we're going to call whenever we click this H1, we'll call handle click. Okay. With JavaScript turned off, this isn't going to do anything. I can click all I want, and it's not going to do anything because we need JavaScript to handle event handlers, right? That's not something that can run on the server. That's something that only runs in the browser. But if I turn JavaScript back on and then click, we get the hello world. So the idea here is that this is the server-side rendering, is getting that content into the HTML. The hydration is going and actually putting the interactivity kind of back over that regular old HTML. So we're actually getting the whole Vue app is up and running in this browser now. And because the whole Vue app is up and running, it can listen to the click, and I can do things on the client side. I hope that helps. It's not super clear, but yeah.
You know, I think we'll get there. I think that is an added thing, like asking about what is TypeScript.
There you go.
But this is starting to make a lot more sense, like refreshing on the fundamentals and seeing how it actually works in action. Is there somewhere where we can actually see a bit more about what Vite does and the build tool
Sure.
and how it builds things? Is there a way of seeing that? Or is it just like magically behind the scenes and you don't get to see any of it?
I mean, a lot of it's happening, but behind the scenes, I imagine you could probably pass a flag here. Let's see, this is kind of where Vite's doing some stuff. Like, so Vite server had HMR for 7 different files. I'm sure there's like a flag we could probably pass to it to see what all Vite is doing under the hood. But to be honest, I don't know what it is.
That's fair.
You know what? Let's try one thing. So Nuxt is a TypeScript first framework, which means configuring it is super easy. So like I can hit Control Spacebar in here and just kind of scroll through all the different options, which is really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think there is a Vite option. There is. Then I can Control Spacebar again, and let's see if there's a way to tell it to like print out stuff. Experimental JSON legacy log level, maybe, or maybe is there like a dev? I don't know. Let's see what log level does. So log level, and then I'm just See, this is the TypeScript helping me out. Like all I'm doing is
That's a
pressing
great
Control
example.
Spacebar, and it gives me the autocomplete, which is I love it. Let's try level info and see if that gives me anything more. So if I make a change here, paragraph, I don't know. HMR update, it doesn't look like I'm really getting any more info. But yeah.
This is making a lot more sense. And I mean, y'all, we have had Daniel go over so much. Is there anything else you want to show us that you think we need to review today?
Let me show you one more thing. Let me show you this
Okay,
built-in
cool.
server API endpoints, because I think this was a big difference between Nuxt 2 and Nuxt 3.
Oh,
Nuxt 2
okay.
did not have this, and this was a huge thing. So if I go to this server directory here and create a folder called API, okay, and then create I'm just do the regular. Actually, let me do that. So I chose new API because I have a extension installed that kind of knows
Mhm.
the default Nuxt file types and things, and it's able to give me some boilerplate. So okay, so now I've got return hello Nitro. Let's pretend here that I connect to a database. I fetch, I fetch all the blog posts from my database or whatever, right? And then what I can do is once I have all those blog posts ready, so that can look like, this is all my blog posts from my database, and I've got a blog post with a title of, hello world, and then I've got another blog post with the title of, I'm super not creative with these, Jen.
It's okay.
I've said hello world so many times.
Hello, beautiful human. There you go.
Hello, beautiful humans.
That's what I write.
I love that, Jen. It's a wonderful shout out to being human, and I really appreciate that. Okay, so here's all our posts. So now we can just return our posts. Like we don't have to JSON stringify it or anything like that. Normally, if you're sending something from the server, JSON stringify it. It's still being JSON stringified. It's just being done on the hood. But now, if I were to visit localhost 3000 /API / was it hello world? What was the name of the file? Yeah, hello world. Okay, I get my posts. And so this is just like a JSON REST API, right?
Okay.
And it's super quick to boot up. But the beauty of it now is that I can interact with this API endpoint from my components. So here, let's say I want to display all the posts. Well, up in my script section, I would just make a request with the built-in use fetch composable, hit /, and why is the autocomplete not working? That's the best part. Is my server still running? It is. Let me restart it just to be sure here. So it should autocomplete this this route for me.
Okay, that I mean in general is just like live coding. It doesn't matter. Like it's like I don't care what you're doing. It's gonna cause issues.
Absolutely, it is.
Live coding life.
Let me try this one. No, why is it not doing this? Let me get rid of that and let's just let's cross our fingers. If this doesn't work, then we're moving on. All right. Still no. See, okay. But anyways, we can make a request to that API endpoint. Okay. And then we can, it looks like it started to do it then. My apologies, Jen. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. It has to work. Still not moving.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
It's always, I will say that is something that I really am so grateful about. People that have a lot more experience coming on the stream and then this type of stuff happen. Not like I want anything to happen to other people, but I think that's one of the biggest things that beginners have in their mind is
Yes.
like, everybody just gets it the first time. So like this just like really does make it show others like it doesn't matter how much experience you have.
That's right.
It can still happen. It's coding. This is the world of coding.
That's exactly right. Exactly. Okay, so now I can get my data, and I think it's coming out of here like this, or like this is all my posts. I have to remember which one it is. Yeah, some of the autocomplete stuff isn't working, so I don't know why that is. But so now I would want to loop over each of these. Why in the world is going on right now? It thinks I'm inside of, oh, this thing is up here. I bet that was the issue. No. Oh, goodness gracious. You're right, Jen. This is totally live coding. Okay. So now when I do the LI, and I'm just going to actually type it because apparently my ID is freaking out right now. So we can loop over each of those posts. So for post and posts, and then we can just like print the title of the post, right? Post dot, and this is where I really wish the TypeScript was working. Oh, it's because I didn't say lang equals TS up here, isn't it? Post dot, no, I don't know.
They saw it working earlier. They know it's a thing. It is a thing. We saw it.
That's
Everybody,
right.
I know we saw it. We did see it working earlier.
We totally saw it. Okay, so now if I go, let's go back to the actual page here. And I've got lots of, so let me look at view. So these are the view dev tools, and now I can see what post is. Okay, so post is a promise. So that's cool. I didn't actually await for it to finish. Okay, so that's a little better. And now post is this data object here. It has data error, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this should actually be some extracting data from the return of this, and that data is the post. So yeah, there are the posts there.
Yay.
Yay, so it works. But the biggest benefit here is that you get like the auto completion and stuff in TypeScript. And posts dot, yeah, I don't know why it's not working right now.
How
But
does
like,
that? Wait, Alex just said the HTML templating syntax kind of reminds them of handlebars.
yeah, it's kind of the same. So I mean, this is one of the major differences between Vue and React is React uses the JSX, and us Vue people do basically anything that's legit HTML, like we can put in here. But then we have these little Vue directives that we add in that do the Vue stuff.
Oh, and Anthony said really quick, VS Code maybe restarting it. I feel like that's the default answer. Hey, restart it. Did you turn it off and turn it back on?
That's
That's
right.
always the best answer. And just wanted to say thank you. Is it McNeely ad? We're going to go with
Oh,
that's
here it
name.
is. Here it is.
And also shout out to thank you for Mr. Noli. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the follows. Okay, keep going, Daniel.
Yeah, sorry. I zoned out there for just a second, reloading my thing, and I think it's working now. I apologies interrupting you there for the shout outs.
No, just giving shout outs. Like, got to make sure people hear the appreciation, because I think that's one thing like a lot of people don't understand is like how much like liking and following and like watching people's content is what makes the algorithm work.
Yes.
And also like I love hearing ideas, which by the way, y'all, think of questions that we need to ask Daniel on the next stream. So start thinking of those that you've seen so far so we know what to ask him for follow-up.
Absolutely. I love those questions. So yes, I think it is working now, Jen. And this is really what I want to show you. So yeah, see how it auto completes my API endpoint? Like
that is pretty cool.
It's really nice. And not only is the API endpoint auto completed, but it knows what the return, it knows what the response is. So you can see here, it's I'm pointing at my screen like an idiot with my finger because y'all can't see that.
You're good. We'll imagine.
So you can see it's an array that it's returning of objects that have a title property. So this is really cool. Like now down here, I can say post dot, and it auto completes title for me. So this is a disconnect. Like if I was using a Laravel API or just a completely separate API from a Nux project, I wouldn't get any of this, or I would have to manually type this stuff inside my project. Now, just based on the return of my endpoint, I automatically now on the front end know what the shape of that data is, and so I can. It helps not create errors. I can code more confidently.
This is pretty sweet. Thank you. I think that's definitely, um, and yes, Anthony, I'm really glad that Redwood GraphQL API has always done this. He's very, very big into Redwood and GraphQL. At some point, I know that. Okay, Anthony, maybe you and Daniel can chat and we can do a GraphQL next stream. Like, you got to talk to Daniel though. Like,
That would
you're
be
welcome to
cool.
come on together because uh, Anthony's been wanting to come on the stream to talk about GraphQL for like forever. So we got
my
to go baby steps.
my personal experience with GraphQL is I've used it some, and I really do like I mean, like you have that type safety across your back end and your front end, which is exactly kind of what I just did here, right? So
Hmm.
GraphQL pioneered that essentially. Like they did that first. Absolutely. I'm just always more comfortable doing like regular REST API calls. So this helps me as the one who's comfortable with REST API calls get the same kind of functionality, which is really nice. But I can do it without the GraphQL piece, which makes me comfortable.
Interesting. All
So
right. All
yeah.
right. That's good to know. Very cool. Well, I like that you showed us that, and we also got to see how to troubleshoot those type of things when they don't work. I think that's always very helpful for all of us too. Now, is there anything else that we have missed that you want to go over?
No, I think that's about it, Jen.
Yay. All right. So, y'all, either like also go follow Daniel and View School on all the social medias. They're everywhere. Really big on X, formerly known as Twitter. And if y'all want to see how awkward it is saying that during conferences, definitely like know that this is something I struggle with all the time. We have a weekly stream sometime on Tuesday between like a few hours earlier to now ish. I haven't gotten great at nailing down the time yet. But yes, y'all, come back. Thank you for following Calvin. And y'all, make sure to click follow and ask us all the questions that we should have Daniel on the stream again for View next. I'm going to volunteer you for V2 or Pina, or like we'll figure out one of those things we need to learn more about. And thank you all.
Deal.
Let's see am I spacing anything that they need to follow up with and follow y'all on that I forgot to mention. Okay. And do y'all want to go to finite singularity or ending with Ali? I almost said Ollie. Ali, because both are really great streams. So see if we have any preferences before I hit the raid button. I'm just gonna surprise y'all. You're just gonna have a random one.
What's it gonna be? We don't know.
Ooh, oh, treat bot. You're here and I'm leaving. But yes, okay, y'all, really quick before I go through all of this and raid you. We're going to get like Skittles where you guys can like do things and get your points, and I'm gonna get Skittles. It's gonna be amazing. And because he made all these like machines. It's really cool. All right, we are going to raid and thank you, everyone.